the negative is that if you listen to a strictly literal reading of certain passages of the Scripture, and you argue that these then apply to the world, and Genesis is the obvious example here. If you want to argue that Genesis gives us literal truths about how the world came to be how it is, it's clear that that reading of Genesis sets up the potential for conflict between science, because the territory that science operates in is precisely the explanation of how things operate mechanically and causally in the natural world. conflict between science and religion. I think that's a big mistake. So on the one hand, we don't want to deny that there's clearly religious opposition to science and scientific opposition to religion, but whether the relations between these two, very important social forces in the West, I think is highly questionable.
There is a related point, though, that to the extent that you want to focus on what's wrong in this debate, quite often but equally we need to go out and talk to people of a religious disposition and say, it's not that you don't understand science correctly, it's that you don't understand the nature of your own texts correctly.
Oh, no, I think that's exactly right. The point here is whether these narrow fundamentalist groups are in some sense realistic manifestations or true or proper manifestations of the historical tradition.
And it's still exclusive, and it opens people up to be monitored and surveyed in ways they might not be aware of. So it's changed the structure of the debate. The debate has definitely not gone away yet.
Okay, Bill, thank you very much for bringing us up to date on that. Well, now, an app, an army of volunteers with smartphones, and the restoration of water to remote people ravaged by one of the worst storms in Now, that's been the situation in Vanuatu, the South Pacific island nation hit by tropical cyclone Pam in March. In the aftermath, one priority was to restore water supplies, sanitation and hygiene. So to prioritise their efforts, the relief workers needed accurate not just the terrain, but also features like rainwater collection, springs and groundwater. But in such a remote location dotted across multiple islands, where might you start? Well, luckily, they already had, because a number of NGOs, along with UNICEF and Vanuatu's Department of Geomorphology, Mines and Water Resources, had already done extensive mapping of water and sanitation across the island nation. So when the cyclone hit, they were able to return. They'd gathered all that data using an app on Android smartphones. Well, I've been hearing more from Asia Pacific Program Manager Stefan Kraus, and he's with one of the bodies involved. It's an internet and mobile software NGO called ACVO.
In a small island developing state like Vanuatu, access to safe and clean drinking water can be an issue, and mapping water points like this helps the government to monitor the availability of water resources. Up until Tropical Cyclone Pam hit, the focus primarily was on water points. Where were the public water points located, and where was clean drinking water available?
And how did you go doing that?
Teams were able to go out into the field using this mobile phone application and visit each and every public water point in a particular region and collect targeted information about that point, including a geolocation, a photo of the point, and information about
nature of science, about the foundations of science and the territories of science and religion. Peter Harrison at the University of Queensland and in Sydney this week to deliver the Richard Johnson Lecture for the Centre for Public Christianity. Peter, let's have another piece of music. We started off with Midnight Oil. I didn't ask you why you chose that.
They're just a favourite band, and that particular song I very much enjoy. So it's as simple as that.
Well, let's have another one. Only we're going in a different direction here altogether. It's Bach, but of Bach that we may not used to be hearing in this in the form that you're introducing it to us.
Yeah. So this is a piano transcription of a Bach.
Behind the Merimbula RSL. It's a whole working.
May 16, Castle Hill RSL presents Take Me Home Country Roads, the John Denver Story, showcasing the songs of a generation. Join Australian singer Rick Price and the Colorado Quartet as they perform over 20 of John Denver's finest in a superb 2-hour show. The John Denver Story, one show only, Saturday, May 16 at Castle Hill RSL. Tickets on sale now at castlehillrsl.com.au.
My little girl Riley was only 16 months old when she was diagnosed with brain cancer. We weren't sure how many birthdays she'd get, but thanks to Cancer Council's research, Riley's just turned 6.
Give cancer patients more birthdays. Donate to Cancer Council, New South Wales now.
300 780 113 or go to cancercouncil.org.au/birthdays.
Where you've got lots of religious diversity, and of course in the 1990s this was the place of great religious conflict, particularly in Bosnia. But Orthodox Christians joining pro-Russian rebels in the Ukraine, tending to be Serbs, Croats tending to be Catholics, joining the Melkites and the Catholics and the Orthodox who are loyal to Kiev. Yeah, they're going in on the side of the Ukrainian government. And then you've got the Bosniaks and the Muslims, especially from the Sandžak region, straddles part of Montenegro. They're going to Iraq and Syria. So yes, a very interesting sort of exporting of this fanaticism. Really interesting figures coming out of, for example, Syria and Iraq. An author of a report there says that the Kosovars, he has identified 232 Kosovars fighting in Syria and Iraq, and they tend to be of Albanian Muslim background. 330 Bosnians, 90 Albanians, 70 Serbians, 12 Macedonians. Is at the top of a list of 22 countries when you're looking at the percentage of places that are exporting fighters to the Middle East. So, the Middle East itself, not just the breeding ground for religious extremists, but this old region, as you identified, almost in the heart of Europe.
It's a story that you could trace back, or you could go back to the way it was pre-World War I, which we're just celebrating the centenary of, but there's doubtless going to be thesis upon thesis written on that. Let's move. There's a papal statement coming up soon on climate change, and a recent convened by no less a person than Pope Francis.
Yeah, the Pope convened just at the end of last month summit. This was advanced.
Scientific understanding themselves are historically grounded in theological claims, but also historically, of course, our legal systems, our value systems and our notions of right all stem back to
the climatologist James Hansen, Martin Rees, who is
from $199. That's up to 50% off. For great-looking suits and wool suits in modern slim fit and large sizes. For races, weddings, other formal occasions, you never know when you'll need to suit up. So save up to 50% now. It's the Kelly Country Suit and Shirt Sale. Kelly Country at Alexandria and Granville, open 7 days.
As a custodian of the law, as a lawyer, I believe in everyone having a chance at getting access to the law, have the law properly explained to them, so that everyone can have a fair go. I'm Michael Lawandi, lawyer at Slater & Gordon, Liverpool office.
If you have any legal concerns, any questions that need answers, contact the good people at Slater & Gordon right now. It costs nothing to ask. Visit 2ue.com.au/askslaterandgordon. That's 2ue.com.au/askslaterandgordon.
Justin Smith, Sydney.
There is a new leader for the Greens, Richard Di Natale, former leader of the Greens. Dr. Brown, a quick reaction from you if you don't mind. Kevin said, does it really matter who will lead the freedom-hating Greens?
What a nasty fellow.
Collective noun for slob.
Oh, yes.
A long neck of slob.
A long neck of slobs.
Justin Smith.
I used to be an FM guy, but you're my choice now.
You're very kind, Alex.
I love your work.
Thank you.
6 weekdays, Sydney's original.
Last times 4, so we'll have to see how that gets sorted out. Currently there doesn't appear to be much of a resolution to it. Somebody else is waiting. Who is this? Here we go, Aldabra. Krastos has lost out. He's not going to go last in, but he goes in straight away. And the last group of them heading up. Atalond is in. Campillo in the yellow and the black of New Outlook come.
Who are to leave. Now, at the same time, of course, you're right to point out that democracy is there and it's something to be respected and to be cherished, in my opinion. So, of course, the UK has the right to vote. But what I think will be very challenging.
.com.au.
Proud Furniture, the lounge specialist.
Mum, it's here at Bingleys. The
new Samsung Galaxy S6.
Have you seen the design, Mum? It's
the most beautiful styling ever.
And the S6 Edge model.
Two-side curved glass screen.
And that means you can swipe.
You can swipe the edge to see calls and messages.
And the battery.
And the battery has ultra-fast charging and wireless charging to keep you going and going.
To sum up, Mum, it's Samsung.
It's Samsung's best smartphone ever.
Will I ever get the last word?
Never. Yolanda Lee, I'm Yenda Lee.
I like Bingley.
To international investment in the UK, on which so much of our success in international markets has depended, and we were renewing our own industries via the know-how and capital.
Our Foods, Ironbark Street, Maureen. You'll love it there.
The third generation is now in place. When you want 4-stroke power for your boat, unthink everything you know about 4-stroke.
Seconda tappa del Giro d'Italia, tra poco ci ritorneremo. Adesso chiudiamo qui, lasciamo la
واللي شالت حملي جبال اعمل لا تنسى عيبي يا حبيبة يا أغلى من روحي ودمي
يتفردوا بالزعم اجا Στατιστικά και στην τελευταία θέση είναι ο Τέλος με 21 βαθμούς που αν δεν κερδίσει σήμερα δεν θα έχει πλέον καμία ελπίδα παραμονής.
زعامته أعظم من زعامتهم هن لأنه الناس لاحقينه طوعا.
Abu Dhabi today that it's a fair amount of compliment. I speak from the Poland and my kids do.
Got it.